It was just 40 degrees, no wind, the sun was out, and now 5 minutes later, it's below freezing, snowing, and the wind is like 50 miles an hour. And this has happened on and off all day. Not complaining, just noting.
Oh, dude. It's like crude oil. Whoa. I knew it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it would be that bad. Just giving them loose. Okay. Okay. This guy. Okay. Okay. Things. The internals of this engine look really good. Cylinder walls that have like no scratching at all.
Cylinder walls?
Not even anything.
Yeah.
Smooth as glass.
So all four of these pins are not taking any grease at all, and they're completely rusted. There's not a drop of grease on them. So luckily the grease fitting is inside of the pin, which makes it a lot easier to fix. All you have to do is pull the pins and then you can unclog them. Sometimes you get unlucky and the grease fitting is in the eyelet of the cylinder on the end of the rod, and then you gotta do a lot more work to get it freed up. But these ones are all easy. All four of these are easy. This one is also clogged up, So this one's going to be a little bit harder because that grease fitting is in the eyelet, which means there's a bushing in there and the grease has to go through the bushing. Sometimes you have to remove the bushing to make that work, so hopefully that's not too involved. But right now we're just going to pop these pins out and get them freed up.
I think I have to use the birch bar to lift the bucket up a little bit. If it ain't going after that, I don't know what to say.
The best way to do it is to take a Sawzall and cut this cylinder out first. Take this bucket, just set it by itself, then you're only beating one side out at a time. Make 2 cuts. Instead of both of these sides fighting, you're only fighting one side. You pop one side out, pop the other side out. New pin. Looks like it's going to be new pins anyways.
Well, it's definitely not stuck in that part of it. Me? Yeah, that 1/8 of an inch took 14 years. Now that this is welded solid shut.
Well, that was the problem, is that this was seized up on both sides.
Hit it.
Now you gotta give that some serious heat first.
Just hit it. See what it does. I just seriously heated it. It's seriously heated.
You heated the pin. You don't want to heat the pin. That's the opposite. You're going to expand the pin.
If you heat the pin, you expand the pin, and then it cools down, and then it's contracted. Rust gone. Same thing as heating up the other part. Or you're going to breaking the seal.
Not in this case.
Nope.
That's what I'm saying. This one pretty much has to come out first because the other one can't go in. It has to go out because it's mushroomed over. Evaporate. That's all that does, evaporates. We'll get a clay out of it.
I think she's heated. I think she's heated. Well, that sucks it right in there. Okay.
You have to do it very lightly, or it might take it off. It's not moving. You gotta just adjust this.
No, I mean it's just it's not cutting.
It's not cutting.
I was giving it everything.
Did
And
it
you
make
see
a
it
groove?
cut?
Did it even make a groove or anything?
No.
Oh! Centered itself.
No, it doesn't work.
I have like made a
32nd inch. Not even 32nd inch. Plus it's also too far this way. It's hitting on this side over here.
I feel like an air hammer might do something because it's got a lot more duggas than uggas. I thought it might have moved a little bit. But
Nope.
Nope.
All right, so we got a lot of work to do here. This quick change is completely destroyed. That's totally missing the other side of that, like fork assembly that goes around this pin. This pin is seized up in there and it's welded on the bottom. Is welded, and then they welded like a bolt or a nut. Looks like a bolt onto it. That pin is supposed to slide down and lock into this little channel here, but they just completely welded that shut. So also, you could see that this pin is completely seized up in here. We tried everything to get that out. I don't know why that's so seized up in there. That doesn't make sense. There should not be that. It's not like it's a press fit tolerance. It should slide in and out of there easily. So there's something really wrong there. Either it's just really corroded, or I don't know. Something's really definitely wrong there though. I'm hoping that this is the seized up side and that this will come out easy once this is out. I can't really go in with this one though because it's like mushroomed around here. Although, now that I'm thinking of it, if I grind that down so it's not mushroomed anymore, maybe I can get it that way, and then maybe this one will also go that way. Maybe. I don't know. At this point, I'm ready to try anything. Because we tried using the mag drill to drill it out, but I think that's just too hard of a steel for the mag drill. Might have to torch it. I just really don't want to ruin this ear here. And then this over here is, that's not right. That pin is completely seized up, and they also welded it right there. Actually, they even welded it right here. And right there. Man, we got a lot of work. But buying one of these quick changes is a lot of money, thousands of dollars. So it's worth taking a day, maybe 2 days, and getting this thing into shape. At least they didn't weld the top. There's nothing welded up here, so that's good. But having a torch or a plasma cutter makes easy work out of undoing somebody's welds. You know, I almost wonder if I just weld on a pin right here so that it's really solid. And now that the bucket is off of the machine, if I can stand back a little bit and give it a really good swing, maybe that'll do it. Also, you know what? If I weld a piece of steel across from here to here, that would give it a lot more rigidity, because I think there's some bounce in here right now because this is only about 3/8 of an inch thick. So as I'm hitting this thing is like flexing. This is like almost 3/4 of an inch thick. So that will severely help this side. So I got this little 1-inch rod. I beveled around the edges, give it a little bit stronger of a weld. I'm just gonna weld that on there just like that. And then hopefully, see, before we were not only holding it so it could move around a lot, but it was a lot longer, so it absorbs the shock a lot more when it's longer. Now it's shorter, there's no absorbing any shock there. Plus we got that piece. We might have a shot on getting this thing out. Plus I'm at a better angle to give it all my swing. I think it moved. Woo. You guys okay? Ease. It's going. I think I'm going to reuse that pin and weld it on this side and do that one next. Although I could just put this through here, it might work. Nope. I don't know why those were so seized up in there. It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense that all three of the other ones just slid out like butter. These aren't even grease joints. They're not really supposed to see grease. Because these are the bosses, so they're not meant to move. What's meant to move is the pin in the middle, which was moving. But these should not be seized up like that. So I'm going to take and hone them out a little bit until these pins fit freely in there. Just put a little bit of cutting oil on here. A little bit in there. This should be the same size pin, and it's what I'm going to use to hold these in here for now. So that works fine. So it might have been the pin that had a lot of corrosion on it. So until I get a new pin, I'm just going to put this one in here. It'll work fine. This is the actual pin that's supposed to go in there. You can see that fits just fine. I just need to get a new pin. I guess I'm just going to get new pins all the way around, which really I think all 4 of them need to be done. This is actually the pin from my other skid steer, of which I already did the pins and bushings on, so this is a spare pin that I have. I actually have another one too. Very, very wishful thinking, but maybe. Nope. All right, I'm done asking nicely. Giving a nice little relief crack. I just don't know how that thing is so seized up in there. I mean, how is a pin that's supposed to move freely that seized up? That just boggles the brain. I think at this point, my best shot is to take a grinder and completely cut that in half. Put a cutting wheel on it and just slice that pin right in half. That little 1/16 of an inch that you leave in there will be enough where the two sides of the pin can kind of close in a little bit and just free it up. That's a lot of grinding, but I think it'll work. I think 100% that'll work. I hate to keep tearing this thing up, but I got looking online for a new one of these, and I mean, I could get one for like $1,100 plus shipping across the country. I don't know, 1,500–1,600 bucks probably, which, yeah, I guess if I have no choice, I'll do that, but let me just grind this for an hour and see if I can get it. Because if that's the case, then I know what to do on this side, and we can have this done, and we can have the whole thing done in less than a day. That's a pretty good payday, 1,500 bucks for a day. All right, so I cut all the way through that, I think anyways. It took me about 20 minutes, so not too bad. Let's see if we can knock that out now. Look at that. Oh yeah. Wow. That was like effortless. Look at that. Needless to say, I need a new pin. But that's okay. You can buy like a refresher kit for these, where it comes with a new pin, a new spring, and some new hardware, maybe some other stuff. But just getting that out is a big accomplishment. I just got to weld that back together, but I don't think that should be any big deal. Well, now we got to do the other side. go. So that one I didn't cut all the way in half. You can see I got a small section I didn't get all the way through, but it was enough to crack it. See how that cut tightened up right there? So that was all that I needed to get it out. It still came out pretty hard, but you know, I'd rather do this and beat it a little bit harder than to have to worry about me cutting too far into past the pin, because that's irreparable damage. You can't do anything about that. You can't get anything in there to weld that. So I did cut through the other one just a little bit and past it a little bit, but I think it'll be fine. I just didn't want to do that on this one. But man, that's a sight for sore eyes right there. Whew. If I need new bushings, I want to figure that out now. I want to order the parts tonight. I was holding off on ordering everything because I didn't want to miss out on something. I wanted to get it all in one order. So now we know we need those 2 latching pins. We need 1 pin for the top. Actually, we need all 4 pins for this. And then we probably need all new bushings here. Those are a pain to do. I did those on my other skid steer and it took all day. Those are really hard steel, and I was trying to take them out by cutting them with a Sawzall like I've done a million times in the past, but the strength of the steel was just peening over the teeth on carbide Sawzall blades. It was kind of a nightmare. And it's not a big enough opening to get a plasma cutter in or something. I guess you could torch it, but I just really don't want to do that. Obviously the pin is shot, but really don't want to do those bushings. Yeah, they definitely need to be done. I'm gonna try to find a way to do this a lot easier though. Maybe I can buy like a 50-ton press.
Trying to hold pressure on it so it doesn't move. It hasn't even moved a 30-second. If I put a slice in there and then all we got to do is tap it out with a handheld hammer.
Yeah.
Even the air hammer will get it out at that point. It's a 7/8. I don't got it over there.
It's loose. So.
I think that means it's doing something or it's breaking something. One of the two.
It should be doing something.
Should I be sitting here with a torch heating it up?
Probably.
Huh?
Probably.
Sounded like it went.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Did it move?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
I'm sure. Either that or you broke the piece on the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah.
it went.
It definitely went.
That's the combination between the stupidity and the heat. Go on.
Stupidity. Also, you can use that in that. If the cutting oil man is watching, send us some.
Next.
You think that's good?
Yeah. You can push a little harder this time. It likes to push fast. The more you can keep that cut moving, the cooler it is. You know what I mean? The more you sit in one spot, the more you heat it up, the more it just works against itself. This is 5/8, right?
Yeah. I measured it. That's fine. Like butter.
Huh?
I said it picked the jack right up off your blocks.
Straighten it right out. All right, so I'm gonna revisit this press here, and I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna weld some gussets on it, because this is 5/8 plate, and it was bending a lot. So I'm just gonna weld some, like 2" by whatever this is, like 11 inches, and put one on each side on both of these. And I can use 1/4" plate for that, and that's gonna be a lot stronger than just putting a thicker piece of steel on. Cause yeah, I could use like 1.5 inches of steel, but that might still bend, and it's very hard to work with that thick of steel. Anything beyond like 3/4 inch is kind of hard to work with. So it's easier to weld on some gussets. Well, now we'll give it 3 to 5 business days to cool, and then we'll be able to use it. Go outside and stick it in the ice. That's our driveway melter.
Yeah. It's gonna come this way. But I got a cup on there so that I can come out a little bit, and then we gotta figure out
All right, that's pretty straight now.
something else. If you're getting rid of that box, the one carrying, I'll pull it in my car and take it for use.
Yeah, something seems like it's going. I don't know what it is though. These rods got 60,000 pounds tensile strength. I don't see anything bending. Yeah, but I think it's maxed out as far as weight limit.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. I think you've got 20 tons of pressure on there. We're maxed out in this thing.
That's what I'm looking at now. Anything will take that out now. The only way that would come out is cutting that clean through like that.
2 days of sawzalling. Did it cut all the way through?
Yep. Sure do. Alright, so I got some new pins and bushings. I didn't get all of them, but we can put in whatever I got. So these bushings, pressing them out was a massive job. I actually did that on my other machine, the same exact machine, and it wasn't near as hard. It was still pretty hard, but for some reason these were just seized in there a lot worse. So what I'm going to do now is take this brake cylinder hone and just hone down the bores, take away any of the burrs in there, and also all the scale and rust and all that stuff. And also just take like another thou or two off to make it easier to put these new bushings in. I got them in the freezer right now, so they will go in a little easier. Probably still gonna have to press them or beat them in, but at least it'll be not as bad as taking them out. Alright, so that's before doing anything. Lots of rust in there. Almost some scale on the outside. Just some crud in there. Let me clean it up and show you. Look at that. Nice new shiny bore. So I just discovered that I got the wrong part for these. So I can't put the bushings in here for another few days. I had to reorder them, but I do have the bushings for these and I have the pins for everything. So let's go ahead and use my homemade press to put these bushings in, and then we can work on the quick change. And I've also had those bushings in the freezer for a while, and I'm gonna heat up this bore so that hopefully it slips right in there. Well, I got it in about halfway. That's a start. But now we can use the press to just complete that. What happens is, if you don't do it really quick, which I tried to do it as quick as I could, but then this just rapidly starts increasing in temperature, and that starts rapidly decreasing, so then there's not so much wiggle room in there. Here's a dust seal. I ordered 16 of these because I need 8 of them for this machine and 8 of them for my other machine. So, got a bunch of those. that. That's how it should go in right there. Super tight. Went in even further this time, but as soon as that bushing heats up, then it's kind of game over, so that's what it did. That's a little loose fitting. I think what I'm going to do is put some epoxy around this. It doesn't need a whole lot of force to keep it there, but I don't think that's enough. All I want to do is just put a little bit of epoxy around there, just to kind of take up that 1 or 2 thou. Okay, so one thing that I'm not looking forward to, if you saw the last video that I did on this machine, you would know that all these adapters or extensions, whatever you want to call them, were rotted out, and there was a leak on this side. So we had to take out all those adapters to figure out where the leak came from, and we thought we found it, but it turns out we didn't. It's actually coming from the drive motor, because now it's leaking still. And the leak is not coming from where those adapters meet the drive motor. It's coming from someplace else. I think it's on the bottom. So we got to take this all apart again. We got to loosen up the track, pull the track, take off the sprocket, take all those hoses off, cap and plug them, pull the final drive, and see what's going on. Hopefully it's repairable. I think there is some plugs on those drive motors, and maybe we'll get lucky and it'll just be a plug. But if not, I might have to have somebody TIG weld it or something, because that's the only other thing I can think of is maybe on the body somewhere it rotted out and there's a small pinhole or something.
Quite a bit right there.
Oh yeah.
Let's go forward and we'll see if it moves.
The next one right next to it? Go.
pin's right out. That was literally a 2-minute job.
I had that. I guess that's how we do it.
All right, so on the top here, it looks like that is a plug because I see like a hex design there. So we got to get some of that crud taken away and then pull that plug. Maybe there's an O-ring. But also, it looks like something's going on right here. But I don't know for a fact, so we're going to clean it up real good. And if we have to, we'll hook the hoses back up, let it run, and see if it leaks. There's a plug on the bottom here too. We should probably check that while we're at it. Alright, so after a lot of poking and prodding around, I think I found the culprit. Not 100% sure, but it seems pretty promising. It appears that there's 2 small plugs here. And this one seems to have rotted so much that the O-ring is exposed right there. Right there at the tip of my finger. We literally had to dig at this like we're digging artifacts out of the ground. But right there, that is an O-ring. And every time you move it, you can see a little bit of fluid moving. So now that it's not under pressure, it's not going to have fluid squirting out of there, but it's just going to have like residue that moves around. So we had to use this pick and just pick away at everything. This was completely covered up with scale. I had no idea there was even plugs here. We had to like keep chiseling away at things, get all the scale off. Look, there's still some there. So I need to try to get that plug out of there and replace it somehow, but I don't think welding something onto that would be a good idea, because if there's rubber exposed like that, then that's really close to the wall, and then I could end up like messing up the threads and not being able to put a new plug in. I guess the worst case scenario is I can tap a new plug, but I don't really want to get involved in that. I was able to get a 1/4 inch hex socket in there, and it seems pretty tight. It's not the right one. It's a little bit bigger than it should be, but it seems like it might be promising to get it out. Oh yeah, it spun right out. It was barely even tight. Yeah, look at that. That's nuts. It's just completely rotted off. Hopefully that's the cause right there. Let me use the magnifier on my phone to try to see if I can show you guys a little bit better here. Look at that. Look at that. That's what was left of that plug. See how right there, there's like nothing left on the top lip, so it was just an O-ring? That's where it was leaking. I don't know if that's the only leak, but it seems like it is. So now I just gotta locate one of these. I got a hydraulic shop, it's like 45 minutes away. They probably have the right one. The problem is, you can't really call them up ahead of time and figure it out, so kinda gotta drive like an hour and a half and hope that you can find it. All right, so that plug that I needed turned out to be a 3/16 ORB, which is O-ring boss. And it's a number 3, which is not very common. 3/16 is the hose size, and 3/8 with 24 threads per inch is the actual thread size. So I went to my local hydraulic store, and they did not have anything. So I wasted like 3 hours doing that. So I came back and I immediately found something online. It was 75 cents for the part, but it was $170 for overnight shipping. But I really can't do anything until I get this back together, because everything else that I need to do involves me being able to move the machine. So I reluctantly ordered that. And then I came out and I realized, let me just see if I can find a 3/8 bolt with a 24 pitch. And I found one just sitting around. It took me 30 seconds and I found one. It's like a finer thread. And so now I'm wondering, did I just waste all that money? So let's see if I wasted that money, because I bet you within 5 minutes I could make this a plug that would work. And we hooked up the hydraulics so I can actually test it out. So what I'm going to do with this is first put it in a drill, and I'm going to spin down like an edge so that it's got like a bevel on it to kind of accept the O-ring. And then I'm going to grind off the edges of the hex part so that it's round, so that it can fit in the recess. And then I'm gonna cut it down to size, which is like maybe 3/8 of an inch long. Let's see if we can make up a plug, and maybe I can even cancel that order. One of these days I gotta get myself a lathe. I've been saying that for years, but yeah, this would be a good example of that. Kind of looks like it'll work. I'm not decided whether I want to just make this into a circular pattern and then put a little nut on the top, or maybe just try to keep a little bit of the hex on the top and use that. I guess we'll see. Guess we'll see. So that's it. It might work. Oh, wait a minute. Looks like we got a leak from the bottom. It's leaking right out of the bottom. Alright, so I guess that plug doesn't leak, but now we got a leak on the bottom. It's a bigger plug. And luckily, when I ordered those plugs, this one right here, I also ordered some other plugs because there was a minimum order, so I just started selecting random plugs. So I got pretty much all the ORB plugs. I got 2 of each. Kind of wishing I got like 4 or 6 even of those ones though. I think that's the number 6 on the bottom. So I guess at this point, I might just have to wait for those plugs tomorrow, and I'll just replace all of them that I can on this drive motor. And then I'll also order more for the other side just in case that ever leaks. But I don't need to get them overnight or anything. It kind of seems silly though that the bottom one would leak because it's not really that corroded. Maybe it's just the O-ring. Let's take that out and see if that's the case. Well, that plug is totally stripped out. It was supposed to be a 1/4 inch. That stripped out. And then I used a star bit, which was just a little bit bigger. That stripped out. Then I used a 7mm. That stripped out. Then I tried an easy out. That didn't work. So I guess I gotta take all these hoses back off, set this somewhere where this is on the top side where I can access it easier, and we gotta do something to get that out. I don't know. I don't really want to weld something to it, but if I have to, I will. Okay, so I tried everything, and finally I had to weld this 6mm hex on there, and that broke it free. Really was trying to not do that, but that's the weird thing. It doesn't even look bad. I don't know. Hopefully it's not something else. The O-ring looks a little bit bad, but not much. So I'm gonna end up taking off all these plugs and just replacing them because I don't feel like doing this again. So this plug that I took off, I put a new O-ring on and put it back in, and then I want to put a new O-ring on this one, a new O-ring on this one, and just test it out to make sure that that is the problem. And for some reason my shipment got delayed, so I won't have all the plugs till tomorrow. But at least today I can figure out if that's the problem, and then tomorrow I'll put the new plugs in. Plug is really rotted out. I'm glad I ordered a bunch of them. Oh yeah, not even a chance. Man, there's so much crud in these. Okay, this is back over where the first one that I found a leak is. Had to weld a nut to it. Gotta be really careful because all it takes is one little mess up and then you ruin the threads or something in one of these holes and you could be looking at a big can of worms. I don't even think this one was leaking, but I just want to replace all these that I can. Although that O-ring doesn't look too great. Trying to get all these free so that when I actually get those plugs, I can just pop them right in. So at this point, I've got 4 of them that I can replace. I think there's one more, maybe 2 on the other side. That one there looks like it's fine, and it looks like somebody's taken it off. This one might actually just spin right off. Oh, look at that. No welding of nuts necessary. So this should be a number 6 ORB, O-ring boss. So I ordered a bunch of them, and I got enough for the other side of the machine as well. So I actually got plugs for every one on both final drives, but I'm not going to do the other one unless it starts leaking. But at least I'll have them on hand. So I got a pin wedge kit is what they call it. I got 2 of them. That comes with everything to rebuild this. I got the spring, got the arm, got the bolts, nuts, and then this is like the pivoting piece here. Another pivoting piece. And then the cool thing about this is, here's the actual pin, the wedge pin that goes through. But the cool thing about this kit is it comes with this piece right here, which I did not know that it came with, but that's really nice. This piece is the one that goes right here, which you can see right here, it's totally demolished. Over here, this is still salvageable, but you can see that there's some wear on it. So it's good that they thought that out to give me this. And basically, I'm just gonna have to cut off the old one and weld on a new one. But that's great, that's awesome. I mean, I'm sure I could have made it work somehow. I would have put something there. Like that, maybe I'll find like a sleeve and weld it to there, but it's nice that it just came with it and I don't have to worry about it. So this is a kit and I got 2 of them to rebuild each side. So once we do that, then this thing is ready to put back on the machine. Okay, so watch this. This is not going there at all. You might be able to bang it in there, but you might not get it out. This is one that I just took the brake cylinder hone to. Let's do the same thing to this one. Look at all that stuff dropping out the bottom there. It's just rust and scale and stuff. Alright, well I just went through 2 of these brake hones. They were pretty much at the end of their life anyways, but there's no abrasiveness left to them, so we're gonna have to come back around to this because this pin doesn't fit in here. I need to do a little bit more. It's better, but it's not perfect. So instead of going to the store right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and switch to something else here. So I think let's go ahead and just start rebuilding this side here, which means that I need to cut this off first. I think I can't really do anything without doing that. That's what it's supposed to do. So the more you tighten up that castle nut, the less force that it has to keep it closed. You see, that's like a nice solid clunk to stop it. But the tighter you go with that castle nut, the looser it is, to a point where it doesn't click anymore, it just sort of slides into place. So you want like a happy medium, which I'm pretty happy with that right now. So while I'm waiting for those plugs on that, let's switch to something else. I know we've done this a million times, but it's just sort of the way it goes. Gotta keep juggling back and forth. I am done welding up this bucket, so that's ready to be put back on, but I need to put the quick coupler on, or the quick change on the machine, and I did get the bushings for that. Problem is, I don't have everything plugged in here, but I do have everything plugged up as far as the hoses, so I could operate the hydraulics to let the arm down. We could put on the quick change. Well, first we need to put in the bushings on those eyelets, and then we can put on the quick change, and then we can put on the bucket. Of course, we don't have use of the travel of the machine to go over and latch onto it, but I'm sure we could struggle and get it on there anyways. That way it's just done. My goal is to be done by tomorrow, so I know things might be a little backwards, might be a little different than how people would normally do things, but I want to be done tomorrow, so I'm trying to get anything I can done, even if it's not the most efficient, because we have other things to do. Bushings in the freezer as usual. Look at that. I'm almost a little worried about how it might be too loose. Yeah. Oh, it's not moving anymore. That's how you put in a bushing. But you can't always heat up all the way around like this. Like this right here, you can't do that because there's half of it's behind this like boxed in area. But this you certainly can. That's solid in there now. Let's do the next one. Perfect. Doesn't always go like that. It's nice when it does. This is still very warm right now, so that's probably why they went in so nice. So I can tell that we need some shims here. It's quite a bit of space. I used the shims that came out of this, but I don't have any more, so I'll have to order some. But at least these pins come out real easy. So you could replace the shims on one at a time in 30 seconds. Just pop the pin out, pop the shims in. I can do that at a later time without having to worry about working backwards. But it's nice to see that that's on, rebuilt, ready to go. I'm gonna put some brand new metric grease fittings on. So another thing I need to do on this machine, this fitting here leaks, and I tried everything. I tried jarring it a bunch of times, tapping it all over the place. It does not seem to stop leaking. and it leaks a lot too. So I ended up actually capping and plugging it right here, but that was only because it would take me like a week to get that fitting. But I got the fitting, so let's go ahead and put it on. And I can see why it was so special. You can't just buy it at the store. You can't go to like Tractor Supply or even a hydraulic store and get one. It's like specialized for Takeuchi and Gale and Mustang and Manitois. So I guess it would only be reasonable for me to bend this bar back. Seems how you can't even use the third function without doing that, because it's kind of in the way.
Going beyond.
All right, so I finally got all the plugs that I need. So that is wonderful. I got some of every size, so this never happens again. O-ring boss plugs. I don't have any caps, but this is mainly for plugging like final drives and pumps, swing gear, motors and stuff like that. I think a lot of them use this, but really all we need is this, which is a number 6. And then these, which are a number 3, which is a very uncommon size. So let's go ahead and put these in. So to get these plugs from the dealer, just to give you an idea, I couldn't find these. I looked everywhere. There was a whole schematic about this drive motor here, and I could not find these. The bigger ones I could find, and they were like $40 a piece. Well, I paid 79 cents a piece for the number 6s, which is actually, seems to be a common size. These are not a common size, and these were 75 cents a piece. I don't think there's anything wrong with this one, so I'll save it. Well, I'm going to save all of them, but I got enough to replace all of them, so why not? All right, so now let's throw this back in there, hook it up temporarily, see if it leaks, because I'm not fully installing it until I know for a fact that it's not leaking. Well, that is excellent. No leaks. I put brake parts cleaner on everything, soaked it down really good until it was super dry so I could see even the smallest leak, and there is none, which is really wonderful because I wasn't sure whether it was leaking out of the body of that thing or whether it was the plugs. Really just wasn't sure. Was leaning towards the plugs, but who knows with this thing. Up. Good. So I got the cover for going over top of these hoses right in front of the drive motor there. I gotta extract some bolts. There's a bolt there and there's a bolt there that need to be extracted. On the other side, I think all 4 of them need to be extracted. So I guess we gotta get to welding. Probably should have done this while everything was apart, but I just wasn't thinking that far ahead, I guess. What I've been doing lately is if I got more than one to do, I'll just move to the next one and let the first one cool down. There's no point in sitting there doing nothing. See how tight it is. tight to me. All right, so I left this machine out here overnight. Let's see how this will do with a cold start. It's probably about in the teens right now, probably about 15 degrees. So let's see how this does cold starting. All right, so that's about enough work for now. This thing can be added to the fleet now. It's earned it. So in this video, we did a lot of work to this machine, probably almost as much as the first video that I did on it. All the work that I've done so far was totally necessary, and I had a lot of comments last time saying how I got ripped off. I agree that I didn't get the best deal on this, but I don't think I got ripped off. Obviously, it would have been a much better buy if I got it for like 5 grand or less. But this is also a nice skid steer. I knew what it was worth to have one of these all fixed up. And yeah, I put a lot of time into it. And yeah, I don't always have a lot of time to put into things. I didn't put a whole lot of money into it though. But my other machine is extremely reliable. It always starts. It doesn't even use the grid heater, ever. I never turn that key backwards for the grid heater. And this one's been the same so far. So far I've been able to start it in a dead cold, and it's not even needed the grid heater. I guess if you're like negative 20 degrees, then you'd probably need the grid heater, but other than that, I've never needed it. Those Yanmar engines just are reliable, and they start really good and quick. But as of right now, if I'm doing something around here and I need to jump on a machine, this is going to be the machine I jump on. There's no difference between this and my other one. As a matter of fact, this one doesn't have a leaking roof like my other one does. The roof on this one holds water. My other one doesn't. So if it's raining, or if it had rained in the last day, I'm definitely choosing this skid steer. I'll jump right in it, and there's nothing stopping me from doing anything that I could do with the other skid steer. The 3-way hydraulics work. The quick change works. All the bushings and pins are good. It's nice and tight. Tracks are good. Although they're not matching, but whatever. Tracks are expensive. I'm not gonna do anything about that right now. So my plan moving forward here is I'm gonna do one more video about this and my other skid steer at the same time. I'm gonna make doors for each one of them. I was gonna do it in this video, but it got too long of a video with all the other stuff that I didn't expect to do. So I'm gonna make another video about making a door for this, and then I'm also gonna make a door for my other one, and I'm gonna repair the roof on that one, because that needs a lot of work on the roof. I wanna make that watertight, because it's really annoying to have a wet seat all the time. But the plan moving forward, even from there, is to bring this up to the Adirondacks and replace my Takeuchi up there. Because this one will have a door, first of all, so that's nice. It's a little bit bigger of a skid steer. It's got more power. It's quicker. And it's just, in general, I would rather have this up there. So the Takeuchi TL26 is coming back down here. I got to do a little bit more work to it, and then I'm going to give it to my dad. So that's the plan moving forward from here with these skid steers. And when I go back up, I'm probably going to bring this dozer with me too. So I'll probably bring the lowboy and just put both of these on there. That way next year, when I start doing some land clearing, I got the machines up there to do it with. A lot of people are probably going to comment that it wasn't worth it to fix up this bucket. That piece of steel in that bucket was like $100 or less. And yes, I know I should have a cutting edge on it, but I can always put one on when this wears down. I'm not going to put a bolt-on one on, so I don't care if those bolt holes are not there anymore. I'm just going to cut what's there out and put a new one in, a weldable one. That's the only way I'm going from now on. I hate the bolt-on ones, because whenever you're trying to scoop something up, those bolts always catch on stuff, and I hate that. So weld on only, and I probably don't need to do that for another year or two, so we'll leave that alone for right now. But fixing that bucket up was definitely worth it. It took me a half a day and $100. And yeah, you could go buy a cheap Chinese bucket for $600, but I'm telling you right now, those things are junk. This is actually a real deal bucket, and a bucket like this would probably be more like 2 grand. So if you look at it like that, yeah, it was worth it. But anyways, guys, I guess that's it for this video. I have a bunch of videos in the works right now. We're gonna start doing some shorter videos in shorter intervals. So I'm gonna try to do one a week for a while now. So I guess that's it for this video, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.